All right, welcome. Today we're going to pull back the curtain on what it's really like to own an electric vehicle here in Atlantic Canada. Our whole goal here is to take any of that confusion or uncertainty you might be feeling and just replace it with some real confidence behind the wheel. So let's get right into it.
And hey, don't just take it from me. We're starting off with a quote from a real EV driver right here in Atlantic Canada. Because that's what this is all about, right? It's not just about specs on a page. It's about how it feels to drive. Quiet, smooth, and honestly, just way simpler to maintain. So, if you've been thinking about making the switch to electric, but just don't know where to even begin, yeah, you are in exactly the right place. Think of this as your personal guide, your roadmap to figuring out this whole EV thing. All right, so first up, why even go electric? What's the big deal?
Let's get into the real spark behind this whole movement.
The EV world can seem complicated, but it really boils down to two main flavors. You've got your BEVs, that's battery electric vehicles. These are the ones that are 100% electric. No gas tank, no oil changes, none of that. Then you have PHEVs, or plug-in hybrids. Think of these as the best of both worlds. They have an electric motor for your daily driving, but also a small gas engine for backup on those really long trips. Kind of like a safety net.
Okay, let's get to the question on everyone's mind, the money. How much can you actually save? Because that's a huge piece of the puzzle, right?
And wow, just look at this breakdown. It really puts things into perspective. If you drive about 15,000 kilometers a year, which is pretty average here in Nova Scotia, you're looking at almost $2,200 a year for gas. With an EV, that number plummets to just over $500. That is a huge difference.
So what does that actually mean for you? It means this, about $1,676 back in your pocket every single year. Think about what you could do with that. It adds up so fast.
Okay, but what about the environment? That's another big one. I hear this all the time. Well, what about making the batteries? Doesn't that create emissions? And yeah, it does. But you have to look at the whole picture. Over its entire life, we're talking 8 to 12 years, a gas car pumps out around 68 tons of CO2. The electric car, even counting its manufacturing, only 15 tons. That's a massive win for the planet. And here's another myth we need to bust, that EV batteries just end up in a landfill. Not true. After its first life, powering your car, it gets a second life. We're talking energy storage for homes or businesses, or even powering things like golf carts. And only after all that, at the very end of its life, does it get recycled. It's a whole sustainable cycle. All right, let's tackle what's probably the biggest change when you go electric, charging. The big idea here, your garage basically becomes your new gas station.
And again, listen to what other drivers are saying. Home charging isn't some big hassle. It's actually one of the best perks. It's simple, it's way cheaper than gas, and it just fits into your daily routine without you even thinking about it.
So charging really breaks down into 3 levels. Think of it like this. Level 1 is like plugging your phone into a regular wall outlet. It works, but it's slow. You get a few kilometers of range per hour. Level 2 is the one most people use at home. It uses a 240-volt outlet, kind of like your dryer, and it's much faster, perfect for overnight. And then there's level 3, the superchargers you see along the highway. These are for road trips, juicing you up really fast so you can get back on the road.
And get this, a whopping 80% of all EV charging happens at home. That's the key. You pull into your driveway, you plug in, you go to sleep, and you wake up every single morning with a full tank. It's exactly like charging your smartphone overnight. You just don't think about it.
Now, if you're thinking about that faster level 2 charging at home, don't get intimidated. It usually just means installing one of these 2 common 240-volt outlets. You've probably seen them before. One's for an electric stove, the other's for something like a welder. Any certified electrician can pop one of these into your garage, no problem.
Okay, so we've covered why you'd want one and how you charge it. But what's it like in the real world? Let's talk about mastering the drive, day in and day out.
All right, let's talk about the elephant in the room for any Atlantic Canadian winter. And let's be totally honest about it. In extreme cold, yes, you can lose nearly 30% of your battery's range. It's a real thing. But, and this is a big but, it is absolutely manageable. And here's the secret sauce. The number one thing you can do is precondition your car. That just means while it's still plugged in, you use your app to warm up the battery and the cabin. That way, you're using power from the wall, not your car's battery. A few other easy tricks, slow down a bit and lean on those heated seats and steering wheel. They use way less energy than blasting the main cabin heater. And summer has a few little tricks too. It's pretty common sense, really. Park in the shade when you can. Set your charge to stop around 80% on super hot days.
And a great tip for the AC is to hit that recirculate button. It's way more efficient. Just simple habits that make a difference.
Okay, moving on to one of my favorite topics, and one of the biggest long-term perks of going electric, maintenance. Or maybe I should say the lack of maintenance.
I mean, this slide just says it all, doesn't it? On one side, you've got your typical gas car with its endless list of oil changes, spark plugs, transmission fluid, all that stuff. And on the other side, the EV. You're pretty much just looking at tire rotations and checking your fluids. That's it. The amount of time and money this saves you over the years is it's incredible.
Now, if you want to keep that battery happy for the long haul, here's a little pro tip you'll hear a lot about, the 80% rule. Basically, for your day-to-day driving, it's best to keep the battery between about 20% and 80%. Now, it's not a hard and fast rule. You absolutely should charge to 100% when you've got a long road trip planned. But for daily life, it's just a great little habit that helps prolong the battery's life.
So, you're getting the hang of it, right? You've got the car, you know how to charge it, but the best part is, you are definitely not alone on this road. There's a whole support crew out there for you.
And here are some of the tools you'll want in your back pocket. There are some key apps like PlugShare, which is amazing for finding charging stations anywhere. And you've also got fantastic provincial resources like EV Assist Nova Scotia or Drive Electric NL. There are people and organizations out there ready to help.
So there you have it. We've talked about the incredible savings, the huge environmental benefits, how simple charging really is, and what it's like to drive in the real world. The tech is here, the support is here, and the advantages are, well, they're pretty clear. So I guess there's really only one question left to ask. Are you ready to start your electric journey?